Hi everybody, happy Friday! It's Friday, yay Friday! And welcome to another edition of Flosstube. Annie here, Joy-Filled Stitcher, here on YouTube and on Instagram. And this is Flosstube number 12. It is Friday, August 2nd. We are in August, folks. What? Where did the summer go? Well, it is still summer here. In fact, we are entering the hottest part of our summer here in North Texas. We hit over 100 several days this week. At one point, my car said 106. It's one of those things where you feel very blessed to have good air conditioning in your car, good air conditioning to and from the car. And so, yeah, we are in the dog days of summer. Summer vacation is winding down. I have on my Mama Teacher Blessed shirt today. I have been up at school 2.5 days now. I'm not required to be there until Monday, the 5th. However, I love my school. I love what I do. And while my room is already ready, there's a lot of but like schedules, paperwork, things like that I have to get figured out. So, I've had a great stitching week. My daughter has had a great week. This is her kind of last week of like free activities. I say that, but because she goes to the same school I teach at, she next week has staff kids care and she loves it. Plus there's a lot of kids from her grade that are staff members' kids, and so she always has a good time. She's been in camp this week. She's been in a baton twirling and acrobatics camp at her dance studio. Sorry, you can hear my dog clickety-clacking on into the room. He'll be snoring, I'm sure, very soon. He hasn't made an appearance with his snoring in the past few weeks, so we'll see if he decides to do that. Hey, Potter, can you stay still? Oh, I see you give me a little sigh, and then he prances off. I guess that's the drawback of filming in my bedroom, that we have hardwood floors in our bedroom. So his little nails click, 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 click. So I hope everybody's had a great week. I have had some awesome comments. I have heard some great feedback on my channel. I happened to come across a post where somebody was asking about floss tubers who stitch on Ada, and several people mentioned me, and I was like, thank you so much. That just always makes me feel so good. I do this for myself, but it's an added bonus when people enjoy watching me and enjoy listening to me chitty chat and ramble on and share my projects and things like that. So what do we have in store for today? So we have a significant amount of whips to talk about. I do not have my July numbers. I might have my July numbers with me. I'll chat about that kind of after this little intro thing. So let's see. Whips, July stats, plans, because I do have some plans I want to talk about for August. A little bit of stash, not much. I've been really good. The things that actually came today was a super heavy stash day. The things that came today were some that were ordered way back when, and I was waiting on them to arrive. And then some easy grid Ada and a fabric of the month. So I feel like I've done really well. So let me get together my July stats and I'll share those. Okay, so I'm back. I had to do some figuring to figure out all my July stats. I was not entirely prepared. I'm a little scattered today, all over the place. So for July, I did a total of 10,118 stitches. That was over 24 different projects. I worked on 24 of my whips. I'm not sure how many I have total at this point. It's somewhere around 30. I had 10 new starts / restarts. Of the new starts, only 7 of them were actually new. 3 of them were restarts. And I think 2 of those 3 were kind of in UFO status, but I have moved them to a new piece of fabric and I love them. They've breathed new life. The fabric breathed new life into them. I had 2 finishes. They were both It's You I Like pieces, and one of them was an FFO. So not a great month in terms of starts to finishes, but I was happy with my total stitch counts. I didn't do quite as much as June, but that's okay. I had kind of a bum week one week. And then May was only 7,700. So I feel as though, looking at that, I think I'm going to take a dip. I don't think I will hit as much as I have in the past over the summer months. So we'll see. Next week will be the telling of it all. So that's kind of what July looked like. August is going to be exciting. So let's talk about some of what I worked on. So last time we chatted, I'm trying to think. I think I was still working on last week's homework. In fact, I know I was. And I'm going to tell you right now, over 1,000 stitches in one color on a project becomes monotonous. So I'm looking back at my notes to see, because it looks like, yeah, I worked on my homework all the way through Sunday. That's the latest I've been in quite some time. So let me show you that. Last week's homework was on, was Fort Worth. I was working on my Fort Worth piece, and in fact I think my pouch. It lives in a Love You More Studio Co-pouch. This is denim with gold dots and gold and cream marble on the inside. Here is a picture of what that will look like. This is living still in my Semi-Sane Stitchers Bingo pouch. I am about to go through kind of to show you what I did on that after I do this catch up from last week. So this is what this piece will look like. So I worked a lot in this bridge right here, because that is DMC 807, which is peacock blue. If I never have to see peacock blue again. I'm just kidding. There is more in this piece. So this gave me a fair bit of progress on this piece, and it's taking on a different form than it did before I stopped. This was a restart this month. I had it on a 14 count Ada, was not loving it. Plus I made a huge goof and I did not want to have to frock it. So this is where I am currently. So you can see all of that 807. A lot of the other of what was put in this, the 553, the 550, and the 775, as well as 807, were all put in for bingo this past month. I was very lucky in playing bingo. Oh, this is on an 18 count kind of minty colored Ada. I, in the end, had the first 4 corners called, so it got me 5 entries. And then I also had one of the first line bingo, so I think I got 3 entries for that. In the end, it came down to just like an S bingo or a blackout bingo was left. And unfortunately, my S and blackout needed the same number that did not get called, which was 921. So let me kind of show you where I got to on my pieces. This one was featured as part of this week's homework, so I will save that one for a minute. Let's see. So on Mysterious Halloween Town, this is on a 14 count Ada in Lavender Sunset, I believe. I got some progress on this through bingo this month. I got some in 3031, I believe. I got some in the pink 3806, some in B5200, some in 310. So I got just a little bit here and there, but it's coming along. It's just kind of one of those ones that I liked having in my back pocket to use this time, because I don't think it would have gotten any time on it otherwise. I'm not a big Halloween stitcher, but it works well for magical stitches also. So in CCN Angels, which is a Country Cottage Needleworks Angels, and I do not have the picture handy of this. This one got called for 2 numbers. They were only the 2 I had, which I think was 434. And then 330, I can't remember. I think it's 330. It's not 336. 347. So kind of that pinky red. So I got a bit of a start. This is just a small ornament, and this is on an 18 count that I dyed myself. Let's see. Okay, and Hello Autumn. This is by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I do not have the pouch for this, so I do not have, but you can kind of get the idea. It's one of their little squares that they finish off a cube finish. This one had some in 33, I don't remember what this number is, 3372, some in white, some in 731, and some in, I can't remember. But this one had 4 numbers associated. A lot of my projects are not DMC, so I had to get creative. Okay, so then I had, this was another one that was a restart this month that I used for bingo numbers. And this is by Fuzzy Fox Designs on Etsy. And so this is He Has Risen. And so this one I think was used for 2 numbers. One this past week. I think you'd already seen the yellow. But this one was called for 996. So I got a bit of that E in 996. And this is on a piece of 18 count Ada in kind of this pinky lilac color. So bingo wise, it was a fun event this month. I'll get into what I'm going to do this next month as kind of my side gig, so to speak. I do have to put all of these back in their homes, and all of the extra flosses back in their homes. Okay, so let's talk about homework this week. Homework this week was a little bit tricky, and so there was a big time bonus. There was a, oh, sorry, before I get to that, I will say, my bingo pieces have been living in this pouch that I got as part of a swap, and I loved having them all together, so I think in the future, this is kind of an idea I'm going to keep with me, which is if I pick specific projects and or specific numbers of flosses, I went through and made little floss cards with just the numbers that were called. This was awesome to just have in my Stitchy spot, and it had all my projects. And for the most part, I didn't overlap projects from bingo to homework. This week I needed it. So let me talk to you about homework. Oh, P.S. If you are not part of School of Magical Stitches, there was a question. Michelle asked me, how do I get into Magical Stitches? Where do I go? So I guess I can answer that right now. I did answer it in depth in a written description. I think it was on Flosstube number 2, my All the Flosses video. This one should maybe be called All the Fabrics. But we'll get there. So, easiest thing I can tell you about School of Magical Stitches is it is a group on Facebook started by Vicky. She's a genius and organizationally a queen. She's a fellow teacher, so you know, like, my heart is with her because she's been had so much more time now to do it, but you know, the school year's ramping up for us. And then she has Kat helping her out now, and she's a co-headmistress. And so I think she's co-headmistress. I think so. Or head admin. And then we have people that are house prefects that help out with grading and things like that. So if you are looking for it, it is called the School of Magical Stitches and Literature. It is on Facebook. It's super fun. After you go into the group, I don't remember if there's questions to answer to go into the group or not. Answer them, because they won't admit you if there are questions. And that kind of goes for any group on Facebook that has the questions you have to answer initially. And then once you're in, go to the announcements or go to the files, and you can find the frequently asked questions tab. It'll kind of talk to you a little bit about what the general idea of the group is, how to get sorted into your house. You definitely want to do that as soon as possible, because homework now is not just one thread. It's based on which house you're in. I know you can still post it based on which house you think you will be in if you join, like if you were to join today and you want to kind of start on homework. Homework is released on Saturdays or Sundays, but does not start until Monday. And there's a homework, and it's usually somewhere between 700 and 1,000 stitches total. So that's homework. And then once you kind of get the hang of homework, you can go in and start looking into some of the extra credit tasks for the year. We're in the right smack dab in the middle of year 5, which is Order of the Phoenix. And so there's stitching extra credit, and then there's reading extra credit. Super fun if you're a planner and you like to forward think and put things to tasks. I love it. I enjoy it so much. It has increased my amount of stitching. I like that somebody else is saying, hey, you need to work on a project that has this. And then I have to think about what I'm going to use for that. Like, that works for me. Some people do not enjoy it. And so some people do the little, like, the penalty task where they get to pick whatever they want to stitch on. I like being kind of given a prompt. There's extra credit for, like I said, stitching and reading. And then if you move past all of that and you get all of that done, you can move on to the ultimate task. There's an ultimate reading. There's an ultimate stitching. And now, as if that was not like awesome enough, for the people who have finished the ultimate either reading or stitching, there's extreme. I will not get to the extreme. I just don't have time and I think that's amazing if you do, and like the benefits are fantastic. I kind of work mine in order. I say, okay, I'm gonna get my homework done. If I finish my homework within the week, I move on to an extra credit. If I finished all the extra credits for that book cycle, then I move on to a year-long task. And those are 1,000 stitches a piece. And I think there's 22 of those prompts. And I think I only have like 5. I don't think I will get them all. I just don't think it's going to happen. Anywho, come join us. It's super fun. I've really enjoyed it. I love everything Harry Potter. I know there's been some chit-chat about what's next year going to be. I don't know. I'm excited to find out what the theme of that will be. So, homework this week. I do have my phone out to kind of help me out because I could not truly remember. Has a lot to do with Dumbledore's army, which is part of book 5. And there's 5 charms that you needed to find a project to fit. So the first one was Expelliarmus, which is the disarming charm. You have to use your wand needle and work in red metallic or red beads, and that's 200 stitches. There was Stupefy. You have to stitch on something stunned and explained how it's stunned for 200 stitches. Levicorpus, which is mid-air, something that's mid-air, and explain how, 200 stitches. Reducto is using your wand to stitch something that is in pieces. Again, give an explanation, 200 stitches. And then Expectro Patronum, state your Patronus based on what Pottermore says it is. And then stitch something related to it, 200 stitches, and describe. So there's a 10-point bonus. There's 2 points for each of those tasks. And then there was a 10-point bonus because it was tricky. I did not know that I was going to get number 1 because I did not currently have anything that has beading at all, let alone red beads or red metallic. But then I remembered I had 2 projects that I could easily use a red metallic in substitution for a regular red. So we're going to start there. I did have to split this one between 2 pieces because neither one had enough. And that's perfectly fine. You're allowed to do that as long as you do a start and ending photo. So I put 121 stitches using, and I don't think I still have it in here, but it was the DMC Etoile. So it's one of the little sparkly ones. You know what? I have it right here actually. And I used C321. So it's along the same lines of 321, which I think is kind of like a Christmassy red. So I put this into Emerald City style, and I have a picture, but it's not of where it is currently. There is more to this now. This is parts 1, 2, 3, 4. There is 5 and 6, which was building the Emerald City. I have not printed out a new picture, and I am still in part 3 and now a little bit of part 4. So it did not really matter that I had a new picture. And that is a free stitch along, or it's, yeah, released in pieces from Alforst Embroidery. So if you are a Wizard of Oz fan, which I am, this is a fun stitch. And I've used some DMC Etoile for the Tin Man already, but I went ahead and went in and put in the flowers. I did some DMC Etoile here. And then I did the poppies from the field. I did them in the Etoile. And it's kind of hard to see. I promise it. Yeah, you can see the shimmer. A little bit of shimmer. It's a subtle shimmer. I will say I have thoroughly enjoyed. Metallics and I have not been best friends. At all. But DMC Etoile is easy to work with because it's a cotton metallic blend. So if you've not tried them and you are hesitant to work with metallics, it's a subtle sparkle. It's not like working with Krynic or Petite Treasure Braid. It is not that level of sparkle, but it's fun to work with and it adds just a little kick. So this is on a 14 count mint fabric from, I think it's Baby Mint maybe, from Silk Weaver. And this is living in a Made by Mama Joan vinyl front pouch. So I did, I think 121 or something in that. And then the other project, I don't know that I've actually ever shown this in a Flosstube. But, and I probably need to because I have some of these finished. It is part of the Brooks Books Advent Animals series. And these are on 18 count, I think it's like Aqua Ada. Well, anyway, I finished 3. I finished Katie Kitty, Peter Polar Bear, Duncan Dog. Yeah. So this would be number 4, and this is Hattie Hedgehog. And so I went ahead and it called for this red in certain spots of this pattern. I went ahead and added in some polka dots, and I had to get another 79 stitches. So I added in extra red details to the cup on her head and the teapot, or the teapot on her head and the cup down here. I can't remember which one's which. And then to the present. And so I got a little bit more going on that. And this lives in I think this is a Be Crafty, yes. A Be Crafty vinyl front bag, and she is out of England, and I sent her fabric and she made me some vinyl front bags. I don't super love vinyl front bags. Not hers are wonderful. Please do not misunderstand. But this one is great because it holds all the massive amounts of flosses for the whole series of these. I've not spent a whole lot of time on these, but they're fun little quick stitches. So I think I need to get back dedicated in some way. I don't know. I need to mull that over. I need to come up with a plan to, like, hey, I need to finish one a month. I think that's a fair amount because they're super cute and they're free also. Okay. So that was for Expelliarmus. Let's see. For Stupefy, something that is stunned, I did do a little bit of a tail on this. I used Quilting Bee by Blue Flower. I said in order to get an accurate representation of this stunning bee amongst all of the quilt motifs, I had to stun it with the Stupefy charm. So this project lives in my, this is a Tula Pink fabric with the funky bee on it. And this is a pouch I made. I promise a tutorial is coming soon. It's just, filming that has been, I've tried and failed like 3 times. So I'm working on it, folks, I promise. Okay, so this is the pattern, and as you can see, you've got this gorgeous bee with all the quilt motifs and then the quilt motifs around it. So I stunned it so it would work. So I put 200 stitches into this, and I did it in DMC 310, I believe. And then I did some more detailing in the body of the bee. So I did the legs. I finished up the legs, so they're done. And then I put a bunch in what color did I do? Piney Woods. So I did some Piney Woods in all these different diamond shapes. And so I love this. I mean, it's beautiful. This is charted completely, I believe, in Gentle Arts. And it is just gorgeous. Gorgeous. And this is on a piece of 16 count Picture This Plus in Heartland. Beautiful piece of fabric to work on. I need some more time in this. I feel like sometimes I love a project so much that I don't want it to end, and so I choose to work on other things so I don't get done with this one too quick. Does anybody else feel that way about things? And so like Spring Acorns and Quilt Farm, Quilting Bee, Tree Farm, those are ones that I'm like, oh, I don't want it to end, so I don't stitch very much on it. I don't know if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Makes sense to me. Anyway. All right, so for Levicorpus, I did something that is in mid-air, and I used my Wizard Pusheen for that because it looks like he's flying on a broom. And so here's Wizard Pusheen. Now, if you remember, I am recharting some of this. I am doing the scarf in Ravenclaw colors. I'm doing blue and gold. And then I am going to, when I get to it, I'm going to stitch the glasses like Luna's Spectra Specs. That actually kind of looks like Spectra Specs. That should be the one that YouTube picks for my thumbnail. That looks like now. So I got a pretty decent amount done on this. Oh, this lives in my Quidditch Hogwarts pouch. This is a free pattern, actually. I think I've shared it once before. So I've got a fair amount. See, I told you it was his tail. We had this discussion about how when I stitched that, it didn't look appropriate. So the broom is completely done. I started on his cute stripy tail, and I've got a good fair amount. Now, granted, this got pulled for bingo also, and then it got 200 stitches for homework. So actually maybe a fair bit more than 200 stitches. So I've got all the gold in the scarf done. Then this is DMC 336. That's what I used. I used, I think, 680 and 336 for my conversion for Ravenclaw. And then when I get up here to the head, this is on a piece of Picture This Plus, 16 count in Demoiselle. And so it's this really pretty pale blue, and I don't know if you can tell, but there's some like blotches of yellow and pink and purple. So cute. This was another new release this year. So yeah, I'm liking that cute little piece. It will eventually join. Let me show you this one. This one is not fully finished. It's partial finish. But I finished this one before Flosstube. This is a cute little Hermione pattern. I love her. She's so fun. And this was on a piece of Ship's Manor Mystery. Again, that one's not finished. But I do like my cute little Harry Potter stitches. Eventually, I might, it may be at the end of the year, I'll do a finish parade. So everybody can see all the fun things I've done that were before BF, before Flosstube. All right, so for Reducto, something that's in pieces, there was a suggestion made that you could do like a SAL, because a SAL is released in pieces. I chose to go ahead and work on my temperature quilt because I needed to work on that for the end of the month anyway. I'm still not finished. It was a big month. I think it had like close to 400 stitches. And so I said that because it's stitched in pieces, you cannot stitch it until you know the temperature for any given day. And even though I was working on 1 month, I couldn't very well go ahead and stitch August or September or anything else. So I believe it's going to work. So this is on my phone, but here is this is the mock-up. This is a free pattern off of Hetty Ruckert. You can find her on Instagram, but it's off of her blog, and she created this temperature quilt. And I just loved how it looked, and so I went ahead and jumped on board. This is still on my Q-snap because I do have some more to put into it. So as you can see, it starts in the middle and then it starts to work its way around. So July started right here in the corner, so I have done about half of July. I have to do the whole bottom and 2 over here to finish July. And it will eventually wrap around and be a great square piece. So I love this because it does have the year, 2019, and then eventually it'll give me a place where I can put in Fort Worth, which is where I've tracked it. And so I just love this. This is on a piece of 18 count opalescent white Aida, and I love that you just get the little bit of shimmer in there. So yeah, super fun. And this one lives in a pouch with some cute rainbow raindrops. So yeah, so fun. And I love that some of these designers are so thoughtful and they share their just talent with us. All right, and so for the very last one, which is Expecto Patronum, you have to state your Patronus and stitch something. So my Patronus, according to Pottermore, you had to say Pottermore. It was on your honor. You didn't have to share it, but if they ask, I will gladly share it. Mine is a kingfisher, which is a type of a bird. It showed it. It kind of looks like it has a long beak, like a hummingbird kind of. And so I chose to work through Ship's Manor Bluebirds, and this lives in my Bluebird Batbird pouch. There's a little bit of story there. I won't go into it again. And so the only picture I have of the mock-up is of a portion of it. This is stitched in only 5 colors of Ship's Manor Gorgeous Flosses, all blues. So my blue heart is so happy stitching on this. And this is on a piece of 14 count Mystic Fabrics. It does not have a name. It's just one of her weekly fabric games. And so I got another 200 stitches in. So what got added? Well, hello, Potter. And yes, my dog's name is Potter because he has a white lightning bolt on his back. Is more of this motif, this flower, this triangle, this precious bird cage, and part of this little motif right here. This is the edge. This is the bottom edge. So I have hit 2 of my edges. There's a long flower, I think, that runs. I might have hit the furthest point here. But how beautiful is this fabric? My lighting's actually really nice today. I don't know what I'm doing differently, but it looks pretty good. Maybe it's just everything's popping today. So anyway, I love the blues on the kind of tobacco colored. It's very similar to what Eric shows in his mock-up and what he suggests from his own shop. But I had this in my stash. I usually will buy the called for if it's a fabric that I really love. But I had that and it was almost identical. All right, so my stitching bucket is empty, which means I've talked about all I've worked on. So plans. Immediate plans are to finish temperature quilts. In fact, I'm going to leave this out of my stitching bucket. Immediate plans are to finish temperature quilt for July. I'd like to get that done before homework gets released again. I mean, before homework starts Monday. So other plans. We're in August, so which means we've got some new stuff going on in some of the groups I belong in. So I love some of the things I can double dip on. Okay, I can double dip. If I work it out right, I can try to double dip magical stitches with the semi-sane stitcher things, and the semi-sane stitcher things can double dip with 24-hour cross stitch acrostic. Whew, that's a tongue twister. So I have not had an opportunity. That's part of what I'm going to do tonight while this video is uploading, is I'm going to work on figuring out what I want to work on through the course of 24 hours of cross stitch acrostic for the month. I'm going to try to double dip that with Semi-Sane Stitchers. And Semi-Sane Stitchers has 2 events going. You don't have to do both together. You can do them separately or you can link them. So one is called Domino Effect, and Domino Effect has 3 levels, and I needed clarification because my brain did not process the instructions and it didn't make any sense to me. So thankfully there's amazing people who have clarified since. Domino Effect, you take and you pick a level. There's level 1, which is 25 stitch increments, level 2, which is 50, or level 3, which is 100. So I said, okay, and you get entries for getting to level 10 without repeating a whip. Well, I've got plenty of whips, no problem. So whip 1, you stitch. So say for instance, I picked level 3. Whip 1, I will put 100 stitches in that. Once I have, I go to whip 2, and I put 200 stitches in that, and so forth and so on until you get to 10. I think you can continue to go past that if you would like when you get to 11, it's 1100, and so forth and so on. I think you get a bonus if you can get, depending upon how high you can go without repeating. But you can go right back to number 1 and start over again if you'd like. Okay, so then you can link that with, so that's Domino Effect, and this is all in Semi-Sane Stitchers. That's in Domino Effect. You can then link it, you can play their other game, which is called Crazy Whips, which is like Crazy Eights, I guess, sort of. Crazy Whips, and link it to your Domino Effect. So this is where it gets a little fun and interesting and a little bit tricky, is you have to link your projects. So you have to have whip 1 has to link to whip 2 in some way. So if whip 1 is a fancy lady and whip 2 is another fancy lady, you link them in that way. Well, then number 2 fancy lady might be like a snowy scene, and you might link it to a winter cabin. So you're linking them, but as you're linking them, you're increasing your number of stitches. Maybe makes sense. I just now wrapped my head around it today. Maybe I just understood it when I explained it to myself, to you. So I'm going to attempt, though, because the 24-hour of cross-stitch acrostic challenge, you choose your goal. And so I can do about 100 stitches, well, in an hour if I'm really focused, and it's kind of a thing. You can pick a time component. I don't do well with time. I lose track of time. Or you can do a stitch count component. So my thought process is that I could do, I could double dip. They're counting, though, if I remember correctly, is 124.80 or 1200. But I think they said something that you could pick your own challenge. So my thought process was, why couldn't my challenge to be an increasing number? I don't know. I have to work on how the double dipping's going to work. I know I'm going to try whatever I do, because I'm thinking, this is my thought process, is if I'm able to use these projects for homework, and if they're my extra credits too, if I can link those somehow over to what I'm doing in Semi-Sane or in acrostic, I'm hopeful I'm going to get more bang for my buck and actually make more progress on some pieces. I'd like to have more finishes in August than 2. I'm starting a lot, but I feel like I've reached a point where maybe I'm on the downhill slope of wanting to start a bunch of stuff. I feel like I've got a lot of cool things in the works, but I also like a lot of the stuff I'm working on. So I feel like guilty that I have so many projects I'm spreading thin. So yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Hold, please. Potter. He gets to licking. And I can't take it. And I don't want you to have to listen to that. So I've encouraged him to move along. Move it along. Okay, so I think that's it for plans, maybe. Now, I also have seen some stuff. Stitch and Mommy started Arbitrary August. So now I'm like, well, that sounds kind of cool. So I don't know. I haven't really set anything in stone. I haven't put anything in a spreadsheet on my computer, which means it's only briefly in my mind. If it's not on a spreadsheet in my computer, nothing has worked out. So I kind of like the idea, though, of Arbitrary August, but I don't know how that works in with some of the other games and things. So I don't know. Because I kind of want to use a tiny decision wheel on my phone. Like everybody else. And I don't want to spread myself too thin. I'd love to, like I said, I'd love to get some finishes. I don't know what the first one on my docket would be to finish. Maybe get Hattie Hedgehog finished. That would be nice. And get that one off my list. Because I've got some that are old. Like Halloween Town has been around since March. It needs to get finished. Like I would love to have kind of a turnaround time of less than 6 months on those size of projects. Like obviously my 2 Hades that I'm going to look at starting or will start at some point. Those will take longer. But some of these ones that are not super gargantuan projects, I feel like don't need to take me multiple years. Okay, so I've rambled on enough. Now, speaking of, let's go into some stash. So this has been a pretty good week. I feel like I have not bought that much. In fact, I don't think I've bought hardly anything this week. I've paid for some of my monthly things, like I do the Victoria Motto monthly threads. So I went ahead and that came through and I paid that. I did my fabric from Misty, my Mystic, my fabric of the month. And then what else comes through? I feel like there's something else. That might be it. That might be all my monthlies now. I know I am also going to do the Hand Dyed by Stephanie monthly that they just are starting. This is the first month. So that will be coming, but that's kind of not a mystery one. Like it's a semi-mystery because you know the ultimate 13 colors you're going to get over the year, but you don't know what you're going to get each month. So that's kind of nice. And I did pick 16 count Ada, so it will kind of build up my stash of 16 count. I say that, but I've got a lot of 16 count. But it was either 16 or 14, and I did not want 14. And I could have just not participated at all, but the colors are beautiful. They're some of her most well-known. So what did I buy and or get? Because some of the things I got were ordered significantly amount of time ago. So let's talk first. Today was a good mail day. I got 3 things of mail today alone because I had some things show up that didn't even tell me they were shipped yet. So isn't that nice? But let me start with what I got. I did place an order last week with Hand Dyed by Rolanda. And so one of the patterns that I have kind of in the docket, so to speak, coming up is Ink Circles Village Square. And I knew I wanted to do a silk for it. And I liked the look of the silk that they have charted with it. It's either a Gloriana or a Dinky Dye. I can't remember. I think it's Gloriana. And I think that's a bit beyond my price point. So I went to one of my favorites. And that is Hand Dyed by Rolanda. And picked out 2 colorways. And I haven't decided yet. Because it's not getting started yet. And it'll depend a lot on fabric. But I could not pass these up. Like, this is one of the silks that I got. Is that not gorgeous? It probably, I'm not leaning towards this one. But this will be for something. It's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. The colors in it is turquoise, hot pink. And then this, like, corally salmon color. Beautiful. I got 2 skeins of that. And then this is the one I think I'm leaning towards for, and these are both limited edition, so they do not have any other distinguishing factors. This is the one I think I'm, leaning towards for Village Square. And so this has a green kind of like a pea green, a teal, and then a aubergine purpley. So I think that's beautiful. So I think that's what I'm leaning towards for that. So I went ahead and snagged those. And then I noticed she had some silk mystery bags. I'm getting into silk a little bit. Projects here and there, I'm getting into silks. I love my Mrs. Sadis. And I hope I'm saying that right. And if I am not, please correct me. Because I wouldn't want to be rude and not say it correctly. I love her silks. And the one, oh, that's what I need to finish. Jeremiah 29:11. I need to finish that one. That needs to be next in the plans. Okay, anyway, I wanted to get some of Rolanda's because I love her colors and things. So I got a mystery pack, and it has 5 in it. And I'm going to try to do this without completely wrecking this games. They have no distinguishing characteristics. It says that in the listing. It's reasonable. Very reasonable. So in my pack, I got, and I'm just going to show you all at once. We're going to try to make this video not 1,000 years long. Thank you to all who watched till the very, very bitter end. So I got this blue variegated right here. This brownish copper, not copper, brownish bronze. Variegated light green, and that is way blowing out those silks. That light is blowing out the silks. And then this one is a mix of like turquoise teal and like chartreusey green. Beautiful. And then an orange, which this would be so cute in some kind of fall stitching. Actually, both of these would. Like, that would be so cute in a fall stitch. So anyway, so soft. So soft. I don't know that I can get these back in this little bag, but I feel like I need to for protection. So, if you have not bought anything from Hand Dye by Rolanda, I have not ever been disappointed. I have her cotton flosses, which I love. I have lots of them. It's kind of back in there. Not really. And then I also have one piece of her fabric, but I'm like, I don't want to use it. Is that bad? I don't know. And then now I have some of her silks, and they're gorgeous too. Okay, so let's talk about what else came. Actually, let's talk about what else was purchased. So I went on 1-2-3 Stitch because we had talked about last week that I wanted to go ahead and switch Tranquil Tulips, which is a Heaven and Earth Designs. Switch it from, and I actually still have it on here because I debated. I had it on this 18 count Dove Gray, and I'd gotten just a tiny bit of a start in this top corner. I had debated going ahead and continuing on. I have since decided no. I went ahead and ordered a piece of the Easy Count 18 grid. 18 by 21. This is too big. But the smaller size was not big enough. So, and it's very stiff. So I'm going to have to loosen it up a little bit. I actually bought 2. Their pricing is fantastic if you need Easy Grid. And I bought 2 because Heaven and Earth Designs had a sale. So I have another one that I went ahead and bought the Easy because, you know, a piece of fabric cannot travel by itself because that would just be sad. Be sad for one. I want to maximize because their shipping costs are fantastic. And you get an awful lot shipped for not very much. So I went ahead and purchased. They had a big sale. I think it was 50% off. Purchased 2 new charts. So this first one I'm going to show is not one that I've gotten anything for. I went ahead and bought floss that I didn't already have for the second one I'm going to show. So the first one is, and my color on my printer is a little funky, so this is not quite right. This is Quick Stitch Irises, and this is by Josephine Wall. This is one Stitch and Mommy's working on. And so I'm going to eventually do this one on that 18 Easy Grid. The one that I have already bought floss for, I had about a little over half. And then Michael's had a like 30% off regular priced items if you bought online and then picked up in the store. So guess what I did? I bought the flosses for this. So this is by Terry Rosario, and this is Quick Stitch Blue Diadem. And I loved all of these different butterflies by this designer. But I picked this one. And again, this is not quite the right coloring, but it is more earthy. And so I think that's why I'm gravitating towards this one being my next start after Tranquil Tulips. This Tranquil Tulips is so bright and so fun and so exciting And this is a little bit of a difference. Plus, I'm apparently obsessed with butterflies. I don't know. So anywho, and this video is going to be long. I'm looking at my time going, bleh. I didn't want it to be long, but I got a lot to say. So anywho, also I went ahead and was like, hey, let me see if there's anything in my wish list that is on sale. I didn't see anything, but I did see that something was on clearance. So I went ahead and snagged this. It was steel. And then of course, since I found this, I needed to go ahead and look at, I need to look at what else was in clearance. So this was the one that was in my wish list. And this is, oh, I should not have showed that. This is Cottage Garden Samplings Cupcake Cottage. And more than anything, I don't know that I will ever stitch the whole house. I am obsessed with this border and these cupcakes. Oh, it's so cute. So I went ahead and grabbed that because, you know, awesome. And then I went into the clearance section and looked around, and I've never seen this Kathy Barrick before. I have a thing for Kathy Barrick. Y'all know this. She's my BFF after the pattern amazingness that she did for me. But I've not seen this one, and this is crowned owls. And look at how cute these owls are. They have crowns. I mean, crowned owls, yes. And this border is like everything. So I'm excited about this. And this was an insane steal as well. I was like, yes. And then I was in there, and they had a grab bag fabric for, it's 14 to 18 count Aida. I think it was $3.99. And I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces. They're all ornament cuts, so just keep that in mind. I got 2 pieces in this color, and they're both 14 count. And that's not super great, but it's kind of like a charcoaly gray, navy-ish. I got this 14 count natural colored. This, I believe, is a 16 count, and it kind of is a mocha color. This is an 18 vintage mocha-y. This, I believe, this is a picture of this plus. And it's a cute sunny yellow. And I think this is a 16. And I think this is an 18 or a 16 in a taupe color. And then I got actually a small piece of the easy count, an 18. So what I was thinking is there's a couple in here I for sure am going to keep. There's a couple that I don't know that I would necessarily stitch anything on. So these might be some things that'll pop up in the future as a, hey, swap. I'm going to send you some of my stuff from my stash. So watch for those. So that was 123 Stitch. Thank you, 123 Stitch. They send stuff so quickly, and their packaging is fantastic. And I love the wish list function. I already know that this year I'm going to share that with folks and say, hey, you want to buy me something? Go on there. All right, so I've got some fabric to share. As I said, I got my Mystic Fabrics. Misty is the proprietor of Mystic Fabrics on Facebook, Mystic Fabrics LLC. And I got my fabric of the month. And this month it was Snert. And I have a piece of Snert, and I love it, but I think it's 16 count. This month, the Any Aida, that's the one I choose, is Any Aida. So it could be a 14, 16, 18, 20. I don't think she does 22. She hasn't done a 20 in a while. Well, this month, I got 20 Opalescent Snert. It's amazing. And Snert stands for her version of what she thinks snow, ice, and dirt look like kind of together. That kind of mottled gray cream amazingness. So it's a 20 count. And then when she was getting ready to do her fabric of the month, her fabrics had a tantrum. And her dye that was supposed to be one thing started coming out all kinds of wonky, crazy colors. Well, so she didn't feel comfortable because her fabric of the month needs to be consistent. And I totally get that. So she ended up just saying, okay, fine. If you are a fabric of the month person, you can, I think it was go on to a Google form. And you could say you wanted one of her tantrum fabrics. Well, I'm going to tell you folks, this fabric is gorgeous. This is my tantrum. I just got to say that I wanted my same count. I did have to pay for it. But so this is her Tantrum fabric. And so it's beautiful. I don't know what I will put on this because I didn't really know what I was going to get. I saw kind of what was coming out in the wash, so to speak. But this even pulls kind of purple and green in areas, and gray and pewter and charcoal. It's beautiful. And it's on an opal, and it's a 20 count. So I'm excited because that's 2 more beautiful 20 counts into my collection. Now, I said that I had not bought that much. I really haven't. I am doing so good. Like, I'm so proud. And Misty posted about what was going to be available this weekend, and I'm like, okay, I just am going to have to do this. I'm going to have to. But I did get some other fabrics. That's why I said maybe this one should be called All the Fabrics. And that is because I participated back in May when Crazy Annie's did their Picture This Plus sale. I ordered 4 pieces because they had a great deal on them. So I got 2 18 counts and 2 16 counts. So I'm going to quickly show you what I picked. And you could pretty much go in and pick anything. They took almost the 12-week mark, but that's okay. It's worth it for beautiful fabrics. So this is my 16 count in quartz. Quartz is kind of a pinky mottled with gray. So I'm excited to find something really pretty to stitch on this at some point. So this is a 16 count. Then, and I love, they use Weigert. All Weigert, so it's real good and thick. Okay, so my other 16 count, and I have been admiring this on other people's stitches, so I figured what a better time to get it. So I got a piece of barnwood, which I think is awesome. So this is a 16 count barnwood 18 by 27 piece. So that for me usually means I can get more than one piece out of more than one stitch out of it. Then I did 2 and 18 count. So I did a piece of Legacy. Always use a good neutral. And Legacy is kind of on the more warm tone of neutrals. I have lots of grays in my collection, but less kind of vintage reproduction type fabrics. So I added that. And then, you know, because I love teal and blues and all that, I got an 18 count in Fathom. So I think this one's gorgeous. I don't have anything really like this in my collection currently. So I'm starting to fill in some holes, and that was a deal. And I'm excited to kind of start seeing what's going to come from the Hand Dyed by Stephanie. I've only ever felt one or gotten one piece, and it was from a stash unload kind of a thing. But it was an even weave, and I ended up selling it because I tried and failed. So I'm excited to see her stuff in Ada. I think I've shared everything with you. Now, in terms of the pattern from last week, I did not get my head wrapped around that. So I will pick someone if I need to do a little quick blurb about, I'll probably put it in the show notes or just in the description box. I don't have time to, I've decided that the show notes are going to maybe have to go by the wayside because a lot of what I say is just a repeat from week to week. So if you're looking for any of that, go to my Wix blog and find it there. I will put a link to that below. And if you are waiting on a magazine flyer thing from me, it is going out tomorrow. I apologize. I have been, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. So I apologize if you're still waiting on that. I promise to get those to you ASAP. I think that's it for today, guys. And I really thank you for hanging in there through another long video. I promise I do not intend for them to be this long. I just get to talking to you folks, and I think it's pretty awesome. So I hope you have a great weekend ahead. It's going to be hot here. If it's hot where you are, please keep cool, keep safe, get some good stitching in. I look forward to seeing you back here next week. Next week is my first whole week back. So by Friday, I may look like a little frazzled. I kind of already look a little frazzled today. But pumped because it's going to be a great school year and it's going to be a great stitching year. So have a great weekend, a great week ahead. I will see you next Friday for more weekly update. And with that, I'm going to bid you goodbye and happy stitching. Bye, guys.